We have breaking news on the hotly contested Rerun presidential election in Kenya. A short time ago, Kenyan opposition leader Raila Odinga has withdrawn from the presidential election. Odinga announced on a televised broadcast Tuesday at a court after deliberating on our position in respect of the upcoming election, considering the interest of the people of Kenya, the region and the world at large. We believe that all will be best served by the party vacating its presidential candidature in the election scheduled for 26 October 2017. End of court. Now, the Supreme Court nullified the results of the August 8th vote won by incumbent Uhuru Kenyatta, citing irregularities on the part of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. The new election had been scheduled for October the 26th. Now, Odinga had repeatedly said that he would boycott the re-election if the electoral board did not replace officials he blames for the irregularities in the election. He also demanded the replacement of some polling equipment, but said Tuesday that there is no intention on the part of Kenya's Election Commission to undertake any changes before the vote, and that it had stonewalled the reforms requested. Joining us live via Skype from Nairobi with more details on the exclusion, or rather Mr. Odinga's decision today, is Jill Craig, our East Africa correspondent. Jill, good evening.
Hi, Vincent.
Yeah. Now, this is quite shocking to many Kenyans, although Mr. Odinga had given all indications that he might boycott these elections. What has been the reaction?
Yes, I think it depends on who you talk to. If you talk to Mr. Odinga's supporters, some of them have been very persuasive and very outspoken about how they would do whatever Mr. Odinga told them to do. So I think for some people, boycott has always been on the table, whereas you talk to some of Mr. Kenyatta's supporters, the feeling is much different. They're, both his supporters and then, just people in general, I think, just kind of want to move on from this election period, regardless of who they want in power. They just want to move on.
Then comes the $1 billion question. What next? What does the law say happens if a candidate withdraws?
That is a great question, Vincent, and I can assure you that a lot of lawyers across Kenya tonight and in the region are checking their law books and discussing with their colleagues. Currently, we do not know what's going to happen next. The IEBC released a statement today saying that following on the decision of the withdrawal from NASA, they will be rallying with their legal team and they will come up with some sort of pronouncement for the, quote, way forward. That's from the IEBC. Jubilee says that they are hoping, President Kenyatta said today during a rally in the Coast region, that he is hoping that the elections will still continue to be on October 26th. So right now we are all just waiting to get some kind of announcement from the Electoral Commission regarding the official way forward.
And as we wait on that, we know that there have been sustained protests at least once or twice a week. How do things look like now after that announcement?
Yes. Well, at the end of the announcement, one of Mr. Odinga's attorneys said that tomorrow there would be nationwide protests. In Nairobi, they would start at Uhuru Park, which is a large gathering place in the center of town. They would be starting there and having a, quote, meeting, a rather large meeting, and then they would be demonstrating. And as you mentioned, there have been nationwide protests, most recently twice a week, Mondays and Wednesdays. And so now I think that the NASA coalition will be giving, more statements for their supporters tomorrow.
And in terms of what are possible scenarios, did Mr. Raila indicate in any way that he would participate in an election in the future if it is conducted properly?
What he said, I'm going to read off my page here because some of this legalese can be a bit jargon-ridden. His team claimed that its withdrawal requires the Electoral Commission to cancel the election and conduct fresh nominations, which should take place 90 days before a general election. So, yes, he did say that, that he would be willing to participate in a future election, of course, with the caveat that that would have to be according to, meeting some of the demands that the NASA team had made. But the question then, and again, this is what Odinga's team said. This is not what the IEBC has said. So we don't know what the official verdict will be. But he has said that they want the IEBC to cancel the elections and start with fresh nominations, which would then give them about 3 months worth of time, 3 months of time before the general election. So that is what he has said, but as I've said, it's very confusing right now for everyone.
Indeed, confusing, unprecedented. We'll wait and see. Time will give us some clarity. Jill, thank you very much for joining us and excellent reporting.